Hello everyone, Tina here. Welcome to Card Making Fundamentals. This is the Winter Friends classroom, and today we're going to be creating with lesson number 1. Before we get started, I want to share with you the items that we're going to need, the basic supplies, and then we're going to jump into our card project. I am super excited about this kit because I love snowmen. January is like the perfect time for snowmen. So let's jump in with our supply list. First, you're going to need a gray ink. The ink that I'm going to be using is from Memento, and it's called Gray Flannel. I'll link it down below. Memento inks are nice because they're dye-based and they dry really fast, and then they keep their color. They're fade resistant, so it makes it really nice. So I'm going to be using Memento Gray Flannel, but any gray ink that you have would work fabulous. You're also going to need some glue. I'm using Hero Arts Precision Glue, and then you're also going to need some scissors. I had actually picked up another pair of my Cutter Bee scissors. These are the scissors I like to take when I travel, and the last pair that I took when I travel, they got confiscated. They wouldn't let me take them on my vacation. So I had to pick up another pair. Kind of broke my heart, but I picked up another pair, so we're good to go. You'll also need, you don't necessarily need a jewel tool or a jewel picker-upper, a wax pencil, something to pick up your jewels. This just makes it easier, but you could definitely use tweezers or you could use your hands. The gems that are included in the kit this month are pretty big, so that's just a nice tool to have. You'll need a tape runner, and then you're also going to need a acrylic block. I'm using a long one because we're going to be just stamping sentiment, so a small sentiment block would be great for that. But this is it. These are all the supplies that you need for lesson number 1. I'm going to go ahead and set these aside. And we're going to jump in, grab our lesson kit here, and let's take a look at it. I think snowmen just make me smile, and I love giving them out as card projects. I'm going to zoom in a little bit to get it so you guys can get a better look here. You have one embellishment bag, and then you have all your pattern papers here. Let's start off by adhering this pattern paper to our card base. So you'll flip it around, you'll use your tape runner, and I like to go around all the edges, and then I like to go at a diagonal. That's just the way I do it. Now this is going to leave a little bit of a border on your card base, so you want to make sure it's centered before you commit to your placement. And if you guys wanted to use glue, you could very well use glue too. And see there, I got it crooked. Let's straighten it out. Now as I'm creating, I'm actually saving one of my video projects for later on. So you might hear a little bell in just a minute. It's my computer saying it's ready. My video is done processing, so I'm sorry about that if you get that interruption there. And I think that's a lot more straighter. There we go. Okay, next we can go ahead and take our dark gray cardstock, flip it around. You're going to add adhesive behind this. And then you can use grid lines on a mat or just kind of eyeball it, but you'll want to put this in the middle from edge to edge, kind of like you're creating a belt. And that was my video saying I'm all done. Okay, let's take our scissors. You may have some excess overhanging. We're going to just trim off the excess here. Okay. Now, after we have this done, we'll set this aside. We're going to go ahead and take this. We're going to do a little stamping on here, and this is the one with your rounded corners. What we're going to start off by doing is taking our stamp set. Now, you guys notice that this is not a photopolymer. It's not a good one like the paper tray ink stamps, but I never have a problem with acrylic stamps, and so I like the main friend, and I like all the sentiment, secondary sentiments in here. But it's not a quality stamp, guys. I had to keep my cost low, but it's going to stamp beautifully, I promise. And I think for this card, we're going to go, everyone needs a. We're going to take that. We're going to take that. Now these, since they are acrylic, what I like to do is basically just let it drop. That way it maintains its shape. Sometimes if you just take it and put it on your acrylic block, it wants to lose its shape. You can see it kind of is a little crooked. So drop it on your craft mat or your work surface. Kind of let it free fall and then pick it up with your acrylic block. I found that's just a lot easier. Now I did not mention during our supply list, but you may want to use some masking tape or some washi tape, because we are, or even a post-it note, guys, because we're going to be doing a little masking with our sentiment. So I'm sorry I didn't. If you, I'll wait for you guys to go get your washi tape or some masking tape. But since this is a pretty long sentiment, I don't think it's going to fit. Well, it might just barely fit this panel, but we're going to be using this snow day. I thought we would put everyone needs a snow day, and I think that would make a cute little card. I love snow days. So we're going to take out, we're going to go ahead and take out our we have our vellum outline, and then we have our snow day sentiment. I'm going to go ahead, let's go ahead and adhere our snow day to our vellum before we stamp our sentiment. How about that? Let's take our glue. If you want to use your tape runner, you could, but this sentiment's kind of delicate. So we're just going to add a little bit of glue. Since we are adding glue to vellum, you don't want to add too much because sometimes glue will warp your vellum. Although the vellum that I'm using is from Hero Arts, the classic layering vellum, and it's a heavy weight. It can withstand some heat embossing, and I found that it doesn't warp as much as other vellums, but it's a nice weight of vellum. So I added glue behind my sentiment. We're going to flip it around, and it should line up perfectly as an outline. So you just want to tack it down. And then our snow day is good to go. Now we're going to do this first because I wanted to share where we're going to stamp our sentiment. Right in between this S and this D is where we're going to do our sentiment. Now I thought we would stamp everyone and then put needs a right below it. So let's use our snow day as a guide. We're going to flip over our stamp. We're going to go ahead and mask off. We're going to mask off everyone. We're going to go opposite with our words first. We're going to stamp needs a. So we'll cover everyone, making sure we don't cover needs a. But you see, now we're going to take our gray flannel ink or any kind of gray ink that you have. I do want to say you might want to go over it with your hand, kind of season it a little bit. And if you even want to go one step further and stamp with Versamark ink, a watermark ink, and then stamp with your ink, since this is acrylic does have a tendency to want to bead up. So you could do a test run. Here, let's stamp on some post-it note. I'm not going to remove the mask because I just want to see if it's going to stamp okay. And you can see it does stamp okay. So I think we're good to go. But I already used this once, so your guys' stamp might be new. So go ahead and test it out. I'll ink this up, and then we're going to remove our post-it note tape or our masking tape. Using our snow day as a guide, we're going to stamp needs a in between or just above the NOW. And I'm going to have to put my head in the camera. Let's go. I'm sitting down, so I got to stand up here. We'll ink it up one more. Oh, shoot. Okay. That wasn't too smart. Let's do a redo. Okay. Welcome to the classroom, guys. Let's start all over here. Okay. I'm going to let that fall. We'll pick it up. I'm going to add some washi tape over everyone. If you guys want to even do stamp surgery, you could. If there's enough space between needs A and everyone to cut it. But I know not everyone wants to cut it. So let's go ahead, ink this up, and do a redo. Line up your snow day. I would say so it's 1 inch from the top. We'll go ahead and remove our washi tape. And I don't do a redo, guys. Let's remove the washi tape. I didn't think that washi tape was that strong. Okay, let's try this. And stamp needs, and it's falling. Needs A. Lovely. Did pretty good. Okay, now what we need to do is wipe off, use a towel or a baby wipe, wipe off needs A really good. Okay, then use some more washi tape or any kind of tape you have. I'm going to remove some of the tackiness because I don't want it to stick to my stamp again. Okay. Now we're going to cover up needs A. So all we have showing is everyone. Go over it with my hand a little bit. And then we'll ink this up. We'll remove our tape carefully. And then we can stamp everyone just above, centering it, just above the needs A. I think that looks good. Let's go ahead and clean this off. Cover up our ink before I get it all over myself. And then we'll put this back so we don't lose it. Then we'll put the back on here. Okay, so our stamping is done. Next, what we're going to do is take this strip. This is going to go on the bottom about 1/8 of an inch up from the bottom. Let's go ahead and adhere that. I think that's just the right amount. You can do two things. You could wrap it around, or you could trim it off. Either or. Okay. Next, with this piece, we're going to go ahead and use our scissors, and we'll fishtail the end here. Some people like to put a cut line right in the middle and then go left to right up to the cut line. Either way, I like more of a V, so I'm going to not do that. Okay. we have fishtails on both ends. Now what we're going to do is take this piece, place it down on your panel, make sure it's centered, okay, then flip over your fishtail banner you just created, add adhesive down the middle, and then hold this down and then tack this down the middle of that gray strip, making sure it's centered, guys. So when you lift it up, it's automatically centered for you, okay? Now we're going to take this and flip this over. Now I want to say, if you guys do make a mistake on your Everyone Needs A, like I got mine a little bit crooked, but I don't think it's so bad. But if you do get it crooked, this is the cardstock that I use for my card bases, so it's heavy duty. You can just flip it over and it doesn't seep through. You can just stamp it on the reverse side. So you have kind of a backup piece. I'm going to go ahead and add adhesive behind my panel here. I'm going to go over the sides here so it doesn't lift up. And then this is going to go directly in the center of this panel. Okay, now we're going to take our snow day, we're going to flip this over. Now in your kit is some foam adhesive. Like this, you're going to take this out. I already have some open, so that's what I'm going to be using. I can find what I did with it. And I don't know what I did with it for reals. So I guess I'm going to open, oh, here. Okay, found it, woohoo. I don't have to open a new one. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut some small strips. Take one piece and then cut it down the middle. And then you'll have some thin strips. I'm going to go ahead. This vellum is so thick, I don't think, and I'm going to go kind of at a diagonal here, like this. I don't think it's going to be that noticeable behind here because it's going to be white on white. So we can get away without having to create some very thin strips. Let's just remove the release paper. And then we can go ahead and add this right below our sentiment. So that's good to go. See, it's not that noticeable. Okay, now we're going to set these aside. We're going to take our goodie bag. We're going to do something really fun. We have some mittens in here. We're going to start off by taking both of our mittens, making sure one's left and one's right. You may have two mittens like this. You want to flip one over like this. And then you have some holographic silver mirror cardstock. Let's use our glue. Add some to the base of our white mitten. And then we're just going to add our silver onto our mitten here. We'll do the same thing with making sure they line up there with our other one. And you can see, isn't that a pretty? It kind of reminded me of metal. I like that. Okay, next we have these. These are your cuffs. Now we're going to do something special to your cuff. Inside your kit is this little jar. Now on the bottom it says fluff. On the top it says pretty things inside. Although it's not, fluff is not that pretty, but I did want to put a sticker on top so you guys know to open it like this, because you don't want to, sometimes you'll want to open it like this. Don't do that because it'll get all over. Make sure the pretty things inside is on top, untwist it, and then here's your fluff. Now what we're going to do is grab some scratch paper. You could actually use your invoice, guys, that was in your kit. You could use that for scratch paper, unless you keep those. You don't need those, you just need your cuffs. Okay, then you're going to take your glue and you're going to go over pretty heavily. It doesn't matter, if they're upside down or not. I think they're going to line up just fine either way. But go pretty heavily over your cuffs with glue. Almost covering the entire thing. Let me show you. If I can close up without zooming in. About that much, guys. Okay? Then, just using your jar, go over your fluff. Go over your cuffs with your fluff. Now that's professional language right there. Go over your cuffs with your fluff and then press down. The fluff is kind of a weird texture. It's like plastic shavings. And then you can kind of move it around too. Just don't let it stick to your scratch paper. But press it down. We're just creating we're flocking our cuffs. So we have a little bit of fluff on our cuff. Let's do the same thing on this one. Kind of pressing it down. And you know what the nice thing about this too is if you missed an area, go ahead and add more glue, guys. Flip it over, kind of tap it off. You don't. And then you have our fluff on that one. Okay? Give that a second to dry, and then you can take your scratch paper, fold it in half, and just funnel it back in your little container. Little goes a long way with this, and we'll be using this in another project. If you have one of your little vacuums, you could use that to vacuum up your desk. Okay? So, cuffs are nice and fluffy. We're going to take our mittens once more. We're going to go back to our foam adhesive. Take another piece about the width of your cuff. Maybe a little bit smaller. Add that to the base of your mitten. Then we can go ahead, remove the release paper, don't have my nails since don't have no nails so it's a little difficult. Okay, let's clean up our work surface. We're kind of getting a little messy. Now we can take our cuff, our fluffy cuff, add that right over our foam adhesive and press down, and then we'll do the same thing with the other one. And you can see this is where it really didn't matter if it was upside down or not. But I think these mittens are so stinking cute. Aren't they cute? I mean, I just think that makes the cutest little mitten. Okay, now what we're going to do is take this piece. We're going to flip it over. We're going to take our foam tape again. We're going to add some adhesive behind this. If you guys don't want a lot of dimensions, skip this part and then just use your tape runner. I'm going to go at a diagonal here. Okay, but I like dimension, so we're going for it. We'll remove the release paper. Grab our card base, and then this is going to go. Make sure you have your fishtail banner. Remember we lined it up on the yellow. So line it up in the center of the yellow. And then tack it down. So this is not too bulky. Okay, after we have this done, we're going to go ahead and use our tape runner carefully. Flip it around, add some adhesive behind your mittens. And then I like to put one in each hand and kind of crisscross them like this. And then place them down Might want to have to tuck this underneath the snow day. But you don't want your cuffs to overlap, but you do kind of want them a little bit wonky. Place them a little wonky on there. Okay. Now once those are down, we have two little buttons here left over. Okay, we're going to add some glue behind them. It's okay to cover those holes of the buttons. We're not going to use them. We added some dots of glue, and then we'll take our button, flip it around, and we're going to add those to the center of our mittens. Like so. Next, in your kit, you have, grab your snowflakes, we're going to use those, and then also grab your embellishments, your jewels here. I already opened mine, but grab your jewels. You'll open up your jewels and grab, there's 3 different sizes. You'll want 2 of the smallest gems that are in here. So that's a medium one. Let's grab a couple small ones. 1 and 2. Okay, we'll put those back. We're going to add some glue to the center of our buttons. Now these take a little bit of time to dry, so there's wiggle room, lots of wiggle room. And then you can take your jewel picker, not your trash, your jewel picker, and then put those in the center of your snowflakes. Now we're going to add a little extra sparkle too with some snowflakes. There's 3 different sizes. This is the largest one. We don't need the largest one. We went 2 medium, 1 small. So you can see the size difference here. 1 small, and then we'll grab another medium. There's lots in here, guys, so. And then there's a medium. We'll put the rest of these back. But these have a real pretty iridescent tint to them, and it goes really well with that paper. Let's put this back. We're going to add dots of glue where we want them. I know I want 1 down here in the corner. We'll put a dot of glue down here, just above the striped. 1 up here, right above the D, and then 1 just above the line of the Y. We can take our jewel tool. We'll add a large one here, kind of pressing down. It sometimes takes a little while for it to adhere. And then put the other one, smaller one, above the Y. Might have to hold it down for a bit. Then take your other medium one and put it over here on the end. And then it will stay down. Okay, then that finishes off our, oh no, you know what we need to do? Shake up your gel pen, your glimmer pen. My camera's going to run out of time. I go through 30 minutes increments, and so it's going to stop. But yours has a yellow band. All you have to do is remove the lid, take the yellow band off, put this back, shake it up really good, and then squeeze a little bit, and then add it to your snow. I had to restart it because I ran out of time, but just finish it off over your snow day. I don't know why my camera does that. Every 30 minutes, it only allows me 30 minutes worth of video. I guess it's kind of good so my videos don't run long. What this one kind of did, but that's what I love about the classrooms, is we can do it at our pace, right? But we have a little bit of sparkle on our snow day. And our sentiment reads, everyone needs a snow day. And I think that's so true. But that's our card today. I think it turned out super cute. Let me know what you guys think. I love hearing your comments. And good or bad, trust me, criticism makes me a better person. So I don't mind if it's too busy, not busy enough, too much to mention. I love hearing your thoughts and stuff, guys. But thank you so much for joining me for lesson number 1. I'll see you next Friday for lesson number 2. Have a fabulous day. We will see you again soon, guys. Bye-bye.